Hi, my name is Yolanda Mulwa. I'm a radio presenter and content creator for Standard Digital. I do features to populate our social spaces, and I always go with the calendar. And the month of November is Movember, which is No Shave November, but I feel like that's the conversation online. But the whole month is just highlighting and doubling down on the conversation around men's health. So testicular cancer and prostate cancer, as well as mental health. Yeah. I feel like we focus on the cancers and the physical aspect of a man's health, and then we kind of sweep under the rug the conversation of mental health. So I want you to introduce yourself so that we can have our little chit chat.
Yeah, thank you so much for hosting me. My name is Ronald Okoth. I'm a former footballer, former professional footballer. Played for a couple of teams in the Kenya Premier League, Movember United, Gor Mahia, KCB, Western Steamer, and lastly, Sofapaka. I'm currently the CEO of Sofapaka Football Club, the previous club that I last played for and retired. And also, I'm also the founder of RO Sports Soccer Academy, which is a licensed level 3 football academy based in Nairobi. Apart from that, I'm also the founder of Roads to Goals, grassroots football coaches network, which is a platform that tries to bring all the grassroots coaches and teams together in terms of supporting with resources and materials and such like stuff. So, pleasure to be in your show today.
Fantastic. So it's a very informal conversation. I saw you in your suit and I was like, hey, this guy took us a little too seriously. But yeah, so this conversation is a digital conversation. Yeah. It's going to our digital pages.
Yes.
I wanted to hear from a man's point of view. What do you think mental health is in regards to a man like you? What does mental health, just the term mental health, mean to you?
I think for me, mental health, it's something that is very significant to a man, but most of the times it's often overlooked because I always say mental health means it's all about your well-being as a man. You must be sane, you must be able to go about the activities on when you have a sane mind and you're at peace with everything. But most of the times you find that despite being something that is very significant in a man, most of the times it's really overlooked, because when you talk about mental health, men are not really put into the picture. But if
why do you think that's the reason? Because I know we're culturally raised that a man should not show probably his weaknesses, talk about his feelings.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a sign of weakness. And do you think it's a cultural problem?
Yes, I think it's a cultural problem. But apart from that, also I think it's societal expectations plus the gender norms. Because I think right now at the moment, if you look at let's say the gender norms, as a man you're expected to be that you should be a tough person. We have that. What do I call it? The tough stereotype or something of that sort. As a man, you're expected to be tough. You're expected, not to show your weakness. You're expected not to show your emotions. And I think it's really affecting a lot of men, because you find that the way the society views you as a man, they expect you not to break down. They expect you not to share your emotions, to express yourself. And also at some point, if maybe you show your emotions, you're looked at, you're viewed as a weaker person, or maybe as a weak man. So we find that a lot of men are shying away from expressing themselves. And I think societal expectations is really putting men under a lot of pressure. Because as a man, you're expected maybe to provide, to be there for your family, to be
you're this symbol of strength.
Yeah, this symbol of strength. But at the end of the day, deep down, when you're sitting down alone somewhere in a room somewhere, and the pressure is pushing you against the wall. That's why you're seeing, we're seeing again the number of men committing suicide, or maybe probably even being taken into mental health facilities is going high, because they don't know who to talk to.
Yeah.
But again, it's because of the gender norms that a man, you're not supposed to be weak, and also it's because of the society expectations that as a man, you're supposed to be tough. You're supposed to show only the tougher side. You're not supposed to show the weaker side. So I feel it's really affecting a lot of men because right now, not many men are able to come out and share their problems. That's why you probably find that men will probably now start, going into risky behaviors.
I wanted to get to that.
Yeah.
So because as women, I'll just be honest, I go to the salon. In fact, I always feel like it's therapy for me. It's not even more of the hair that's being done or my nails or whatever. We talk about our feelings very easily. It comes very naturally to us. But I feel like mental health in the male community is a silent killer, because I don't know if you bond with each other. I don't know what are your outlets when you feel, for instance, yourself overwhelmed. Where are you pouring
a good question,
your frustrations to?
A good question. I think for me, I learned how to deal with my mental health through different things. When I used to play football, I think football for me was an avenue of going to relax my mind and my body and just to run away from all the problems. And I played football for the past 14 years actively, professionally, until I retired. Now I'm into management since I retired back in 2021, coaching and management. So I think for me, football for me has been an avenue because whenever I'm not in office or whenever I'm not in the field, maybe looking at the operations and everything that is going on, I'm probably maybe coaching the team that I work with, that is my Arrow Sports Soccer Academy. So you're just working with kids, just getting an opportunity to be able to work with kids, to be able to coach them, to mentor them. Again, it takes away all, any thought or maybe any stress that you might have. But apart from that, I think for me, cycling has done a lot of, has done a lot of good to me because whenever I cycle, at least I'm not just exercising, but again, at the same time, it's so therapeutic for me. So when I take my bike, I go outside and cycle, it does a lot of wonders for me. But apart from that, of course, even working out, I bought a few weights, boxing gloves and a punching bag. So whenever I have some free time, or maybe whenever I feel I have a lot of pressure, building up in me, or maybe I have a lot of stuff to think about, I'll probably just go out and maybe do my normal exercise routine. So I think for me, different men have different ways of maybe dealing with their points of stress. There are others who probably go and talk to someone, or even myself. Whenever I'm in a situation, at least I have people that I trust that I can be able to.
Tell us about your support system.
My support system, of course, apart from my family, that is my mom and my sisters, I think I have very few close friends. Maybe my circle is very few, maybe two friends. One is called Tom, the other one is called Phil, and maybe Kevin. So those are the three guys that we hang out a lot and we share as men, the stuff that we go through. And I think it really helps us a lot because each and every one of us, we've had our own problems, personal problems, family problems and everything. But whenever we meet, we are able to openly express, whatever we are going through to each other, and we are also able to advise each other well. And, whenever you share whatever you're going through with, someone who's closer to you, you feel as if, the burden has been lifted off your shoulder. So I think having also a good small circle of friends that you can trust with whatever without feeling you're being judged, or maybe feeling as if someone will probably share your secret outside there. I think it helps a lot. But again, in the society we live today, it's also very difficult to trust people. So that's why I find a lot of men are not really willing to share.
They suffer in silence.
They suffer in silence. Yeah.
Okay, I like that you talked about the statistics, and in fact, let me just tell you, in Kenya, men are 3 times more likely to die by suicide than women. And then, just in case someone is watching and they don't know, a suicide attempt in our country is punishable by law. Yes, it's a criminal offense. So that being said, and you being in the position of power that you are in, you overseeing a whole football club. When you're looking, I'm sure you have coaches, you have dietitians, you have physiotherapists. In your team of professionals, do you have a psychiatrist? It's not a setup.
It's a good question.
Do you make sure that your team's mental needs are also,
yes, actually, good question, because right now we've only played, this is the 6th match that we played in the league. The league recently just started about a month ago. So at the moment, we are in office, we're trying to streamline a lot of things, and we're also trying to separate roles. So part of our program, or maybe part of one of the departments that we are on the verge of opening, is we'll be having at least, someone who can be able to talk to the players, who can be able to, be able to just sit down with them and maybe, listen to them. So at the moment, there are a few people that I'm talking with.
Yes.
That I know when they'll come on board, they'll be able to help us with that. Because again, working with a lot, probably over 70s, people, staff, players, coaches, backroom staff, doctors and everything, whoever is involved with the club. I think for the club to move on, I think everybody needs to be able to be in the right place mentally. And last season we had a lot of challenges. That's why even the team was at some point we found ourselves in the relegation zone. But we saw what can we do right this season. How can we be able to do things differently this season so that we ensure that our players are well taken care of in terms of their mental health, in terms of their well-being, in terms of wherever they stay, in terms of their families, so that at least, because they're the ones who, without the players, we don't have the team. So if the players are comfortable mentally, they're in the right place, psychologically, physically, I think even financially, I think we are able to see a group of players that are really performing well. And I think with the past few matches that we've been able to play right now, we are sitting on position 9th. I think we when we started the league, we were at position 18.
But you don't mean to brag?
Yeah, but you don't mean to brag. And then the good thing, again, if you look at if you look at the average age in our team.
Yeah, because I was going through your team.
Yes,
you took me through.
The average age of players in our team is only 23.
Yeah.
So meaning we're working with a lot of teams.
Those are fairly young people. I've seen some as young as 17.
Exactly.
So let me ask you, you go for a game, I'm just speaking, knock on wood.
Yeah.
You go for a game and then they lose. Like, what happens after? Are you like, thoughts and prayers, better luck next time, boys?
Okay, no.
Poleni, next time mtadu better. As in, like, talk me through that.
That's what I was saying. In our team now, we've separated roles already. We have the technical department, and then we have the administrative department. I'm part of administrative department.
Wow, look at you getting away out of this conversation. Management.
But the technical department
Yeah.
is all up to the coach. But we are also, we are working with a very, very strict coach. We are lucky to have the most successful coach we have in the Kenya Premier League, or maybe in the country.
Yeah.
He's a coach that has been proven, tested, tried, has a lot of titles. He's a coach that when you play under him, definitely you must perform. He's the type of coach that will push his players to the limit. So I can assure you that whenever we lose a match, definitely doesn't go well with the players, because he's a coach that doesn't accept a loss for anything. But again, those are some of the things that we're also trying to change as a team, because we are working with a lot of youthful players, and our target right now is to be able to ensure that we put these players in good place for the next 3 years, so that at least we can be able to make money from their transfer sales. And despite the fact that the field, whenever they're in the field, they're equally going to their own pressure, expectations from the coach, pressure from the technical bench and everything, which is normal. That is football. But right now we are working with a lot of a majority of very good, young, talented, quality players, whom, if we are not really careful as as an administration, it's very easy to lose them, because we are working with the so-called Gen Z.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And it's very difficult sometimes to understand them. So again, we must see the approach that we are going. We must see how we are approaching them, so that at least we are not able to probably create a divide between the office and the players. And I think the best thing is they have a CEO who probably they consider a brother, not even
because you were in
I was in the same team,
shoes.
And I played with some of them, so we've not created any block or any barrier between them, and I think that is really working well for me, and for the whole team, because they can easily reach out to me and also share the struggles that they're going through, and maybe we see how we can be able to sort all that out. And maybe whenever the pressure is too much there, of course also the CEO of the club, it's up to me now to just talk to them and just try to cool off that pressure and tell them, what, it's still okay to lose. At the end of the day, we put that behind our back and focus on the next.
I
match.
hope one of them watches this the next time you're trying to slaughter one.
They will watch.
Yeah, but you've been in those shoes, so you know the pressure. Yeah. Like, you're already beating yourself up, and then maybe if you feel like you let your team down, I think it also just adds to the situation. And my producer is a Gen Z, so I think they have very many battles that they're fighting behind the scenes that only they know about.
The way they operate is very different.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ronald, what do you live for?
What do I live for? I live for football.
Wow.
That is what I live for.
Is it wow or duh?
I live for football. You know, when
Give me some flesh. I'm just, you're not
I live for football. You know, when you've grown up, you know, watching, you know, football, maybe, you know, back then, you know, I'm not born in the city. I'm born at some place called Sigei, back in our country. During those days, I think we were lucky enough to be able to watch Kenya Premier League matches. I think I can remember vividly well. I used to watch the likes of Tusker FC, Madar United, and you know, we could see those players. And as a kid, you're telling yourself, one day I also want to, you know, appear on the television. And I think I was really inspired by them. And then I think the journey just kicked off. The moment I came to Nairobi, I realized there are a lot of opportunities. And luckily enough, I was able also to join campus. I did my BSIS, Bachelor of Science Information Science at Kenya Methodist University. But at the same time, I was trying to balance education and football. But I think the moment my career kicked off, I never looked back. Despite the fact that I've graduated, I have my degree and everything, there's no other job that I know. Apart from maybe doing some odd jobs before while I was still looking for a team. I sold SIM cards. I worked at Jengo somewhere in Bahati.
Wow.
What else did I do? I had a couple of, I won't call them odd jobs, because at the same time, I was trying to make a living.
An honest living.
Yeah, but I think football is all I know. That's why I'm saying I live for football, because this is what has given me everything. Right now, if you ask me some years back, what did I ever wanted to do? I wanted to live for football, or maybe I wanted to join the army, to join the military, which at some point I actually almost joined, but I just didn't focus.
They won't let you play football, and there are no girls screaming at you from the stands.
Yeah, so for me, football is all I live for, because I know the impact it has made in my life, everything that it has given me until at this particular moment. I always say, maybe if there's a kid somewhere, you know, watching, probably come across this story, hopefully maybe they'll be inspired by it. And I'm glad that we are trying now to change the narrative of, you know, local-based players cannot be able to progress well with or maybe cannot be able to transition well with their life after football. Some of us, we are not lucky to play football beyond the borders. But again, we are probably, let me say, we are privileged to be, you know, in places that not many people are able to reach. So I think for me, that's why I got football with all my soul and all my everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that. Now I want to ask a personal question. So you 6 foot tall, sporty, you think Ronald Okoth, you think football. Have you ever had a mental breakdown? Because I want us to have a conversation, because I feel like there's not too many pillars to borrow from who are showing men that it's okay to not be okay. There's someone who's probably watching this feature and they're struggling, but they don't want to even admit that they have a problem. Have you ever hit rock bottom? Have you ever felt like you're overwhelmed? Have you ever felt like, let's not call it depression, because African men do not like the word depression. They feel like it's a Muzungu problem. But have you ever felt mentally that, man, I'm tapped out, I can't deal? And then walk us through how you got out of that rut and what the intervention was.
Many times. I think the first time that I probably felt that I hit rock bottom was many years back, when I signed my first professional contract with a club called Congo United. It was in Mombasa. I think then I was still probably in my early 20s. I was just turning, I think, 20.
Yeah.
And you can imagine now you're moving from, your home, you're leaving your family, and you're only 20 years old. You're going all the way to Mombasa, where you don't know anyone, and then you end up signing a contract. You don't have a place to stay. You're taken to a clubhouse where you guys are staying, like, probably the players who are coming from different towns and everything. And then from there on, you don't get any playing time. Sometimes even in training, you don't get an opportunity to be given you're not given an opportunity to train with the rest, because probably the coach has a fixed mindset of who is going to be
top of mind. Wale anajua tu.
Then now, worst of it, no salary, and now you can
imagine. Your payment was thoughts and prayers.
Actually, it was bad. It was bad to the extent we were paid the last people. They'd pay the guy they prefer. The first priority.
They are stars.
Yes, and then for us. So I think for me, that was quite an experience that I never expected, because I thought that when you moved into this place, everything would just be rosy. I think everything would just flow, but and not to my expectation. So sometimes you are away from your family, you can't even reach your family. So instead of you sending money back home, you have to call back home
for them to send
for
you
them
money.
to send you money. So there are times you're just sitting alone, and after training, football is only 2 hours of training every day. Train from 9 to 11. From 11, you have the whole day to yourself until the next day again. So you can imagine between 9, from 11 all the way to the next day, you have nothing else to do. You're just seated. So it's easier for somebody to just go into depression, because again, you're struggling. Everything is a bit tough, and everything, the whole environment is not favorable for you. So I think for me, what used to help me pass time and everything, I used to listen to a certain radio station. It was a Christian radio station.
Wow. Yeah.
Fair enough. And then I remember there was a guy called Pastor P. I still remember him until today. There's a day I even looked for him, and I told him, you have no idea how much impact you had in my life. So it's like whatever that guy used to preach on the radio, I could relate with.
Yeah.
So I could find my strength in whatever he's saying. I was like, whatever I'm just going through, it's just for a season. You don't be here, forever. And then I equally had friends who we could share with whatever we are going through, because we are staying in the same place. So you find that sharing with your own friends who are going through the same experience, or maybe the same problems, or maybe the same difficulties, it's very easy to comfort each other.
True.
And then I think I remember we could tell each other, you know what, guys, we are in Mombasa. We are not here forever. We are probably here for only 1 year, or maybe 6 months. We'll go back home. These 6 months, let's try and do our best, because if at all we relax a bit, we are only doing more harm than good to ourselves, because we are lying to ourselves. So I think that for me, the two really helped me a lot, and I think from there on, of course, I went to play for other clubs. I found the same challenges, especially financial-wise. Sometimes, you end up not getting paid, but mentally, I was already ready. I was ready for that. But apart from football, of course, life itself, transitioning from football to from active football into life after football, equally can be a bit stressful, especially if you've not really planned well for life after football. That's why we are seeing a lot of players after football. They end up hitting rock bottom. Some end up going into depression, some end up going to risky behaviors, alcohol, drugs, some going to crime. Yeah. And,
because that's all they knew.
That's all they knew. And these are players that have even played for the national team, and everything. We have players who have played for the national team, and right now, as you're talking, some of them have been locked, and these are players who have very huge potential. So I think, the challenge is how somebody is able to adjust to the transition process.
Yeah.
Because you're used to playing football, you're used to earning good money, you're used to playing for big clubs, you're used to fans cheering for you, and then you're being faced out by more younger, good quality players. And now you move into life, where everybody just forgets about you. And
it's like modeling.
Yeah.
Only you guys play with a ball.
And football, by the life moves on so fast.
Yeah.
Before you realize it, fans have forgotten about you. They moved on. So you find that mentally, a lot of players find it hard to adjust. For me, I think I was a bit lucky, because I'd already planned what I wanted to do after football. I'd already even told my current boss, my president, because this was my previous club, the last club that I played for. Someday in the near future, because he asked me, what do you want to do after playing football? I told him I want to be like you. And fine. I'm so happy to hear about that. But okay, before you get there, what do you want to do? I told him I want to open up my academy. I've already set up. I want to coach football. I want to be a coach. He was able to support me financially.
But not everyone has.
Not everybody has that. So, but I think the problem why not everybody has that, maybe lack. Sometimes we fail to network. We fail to create the right networks. A lot of people.
But when do you have time to network in a competitive sport like football, for instance, and you are playing in the big leagues?
No, we network with your
teammates,
friends, with your teammates. Network with the guys who've employed you, the chairman, the president. Plus football is a very small. We always let me say it's a big cake that everybody can have a piece. but at the same time it's a small one, because it's easier for me to know if I'm playing football. It's easier for me to know the chairman of club so and so. And funny enough, right now, some of the players that my former teammates, people that I've even played with, some of them have even brought their kids to my own academy, so I'm still able to make some money from it.
Wow.
Because we had those good relations. But I think the challenge with most footballers is many of them burn bridges. This club hasn't paid me. Next minute, I've gone to the blogs, I've exposed this club, I've exposed the chairman.
You don't think about the transition.
We don't think about the transition
out of active
exactly.
playing.
And truth be told, a lot of clubs are struggling. We are not there yet. So for me, I think networking has been one thing that has been lacking in our players.
Yeah.
Plus, again, let me also say, education. Not many players take their,
academics seriously. Is that something that you're trying to change with your current set of players? Are you selling the conversation that your fallback plan is probably going to be your degree or your diploma?
Absolutely. Right now, even as we're speaking, I'm trying to reach out to different learning institutions.
Yes.
Because again, in the team, we have we have players that probably even maybe at the end of this season they might decide they don't want to play again. So now we want to see how we can be able to infuse them into this learning institution so that at least they can have different programs to learn. At the same time, we are making a program called the Player Pathway Program in our team, whereby, for example, we can bring in someone like you. You can probably...
Me? What do I know about football?
No, not about football. You can organize a whole, maybe even a 1 or 2 month course that you can teach them about
communication.
So that's your profession. You know the topics, and everything. At the end of it all, we give them certificates. When this player leaves the team, at least there's some value addition that is going
I've understood.
to the team. Probably bring in somebody else from a different field. We'll do the same, prepare a course, and run it for the whole maybe 1 month, 2 months or so. At the end of it, everybody gets to get their own certification. And also, we work with some of these learning institutions so that at least people can be able to get their diploma, their degrees, so that at least this player, he has not only come and played for Sofapaka, but how has he left? He has left more better than
he came in.
So at least even mentally, whenever they leave the club, they're able to not stress a lot, because at least they've been given some tool to be able to also chase their dreams.
I love that. That's clever, because I didn't know that even if you win like a jackpot, like in the lottery, they actually give you like a whole system that helps you invest your money, deal with the initial shock that I just want. So that's really nice. And then finally, what intervention do you think, or rather, what do you think the community, the government can do more to make sure that we see a decline in these fast rising male suicide cases? Because why are you criminalizing someone who is unwell? For someone to try to take their life, I hope there's legislation that this can be changed, like on paper, so that we're not sending you to committee. We are, getting you the help that you need. What do you think the community? What role do you think the community and the government can play to help this men and mental health conversation?
I think, according to me, the community, the government, or maybe whoever is involved. Let me just say everyone. We need to create a safe space
for men.
Because at the moment there's a bit of reluctancy in terms of accepting that mental health when it comes to men is an issue. So we need to remove that that notion, and everybody we need everyone on board, whether it's the government, whether it's the institutions, whether it's women, whether it's men, whether whoever, because the moment we will create safe spaces for men to be able to express themselves, to show their emotions, to be able to feel as if it's okay not to be okay. I think we will be lessening, some of these cases, suicidal cases. So, because for me as a man, I think that is the main issue. Because right now, if as a man you come out and you say you're struggling with, this and this, the first thing you'll be called a weak man, and nobody wants to be called a weak man. At the end of the day, nobody wants to be judged based on the gender norms, or maybe the society expectations according to towards a man. So I think creating safe spaces, and it starts the conversation starts on social media, across all these communication platforms, radio, TV, in the neighborhoods, back at home, when, in the families, through friends, social places where people hang out. We need to create such safe spaces for everybody to feel as if, for men specifically, to feel that they are able to express themselves without being judged. They are able to show their emotions. They're able to, feel the way they want to feel, and they won't be judged. I think the moment we'll be able to create such a safe space, I think for me, we'll be able to see a different, trajectory going forward when it comes to mental health and well-being in men.
I love that. And then finally, your parting shot. It could be about anything. Maybe something we don't know about you.
My parting shot.
Yeah, maybe something we don't know about
what
you.
Exactly?
I don't know, anything.
It should be about something specifically.
No, just anything. So you've said you want to express yourselves without judgment. This is a safe space. Okay, you can tell us whatever, the whole world though.
Okay, my parting shot is, of course, apart from, let's create a safe space for men to be able to express themselves without feeling as if they're being judged. But of course, apart from that, also, this is now just out of the records. We're trying to urge everybody to come and also support our local football teams because it's not easy for our football clubs. We're asking all the sponsors, all the partners to come on board so that at least, we can be able to push football forward. And I think it's a collective duty. We need fans, we need new people back into the stadium. I think it will also be easier for us, as guys who are working in these teams administratively, to be able to also try and ensure that we make football a business. So it's a collective duty. So that's my parting shot. So because if you guys don't come to the field, of course, we'll witness a lot of mental health problems when it comes to players, because players want to see fans into the stadium, and if the stadiums are empty, football is nothing without fans, and also our clubs are nothing without sponsors. So urging everybody to come on board so that we can push this boat together.
This was lucky for him. He's selling his football team. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sparing the time to have this, I believe, very important conversation.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Anytime.
And Avin and I will come for your next match.
You guys will
match day.
You guys will get the jerseys. I'll organize the jerseys.
Can it have my name?
Yeah,
Number
sure,
23, sure. Yolanda.
23. Okay. Sure, count it done. That will surely happen. I'll make sure we do that.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, thank you so much. You're welcome anytime.